The bulls are gaining more ground as investors' interest are more concentrated in mid and long-dated papers. However, market analysts anticipate today's 193 billion naira Treasury bills auction will not induce enough excitement to lift the overall quiet market undertone we've seen in the market so far. Tobechukwu Ikpe, Treasury Team Member at Axis Bank, joins me now for more market updates. Tobechukwu, thank you so much for joining us. Let's have an update on what's playing out at the market, from the fixed income to the bond market, and that's quite undertone despite yesterday's OMO maturity and today's auction. The sentiment remains muted.
Okay, thank you for having me, David. So for the markets, as you said, sentiment has largely been quiet. Activity there remains mainly focused on the NTB auction that is scheduled to hold today. So market participants on the sidelines, they've put in their bids for the auction where they expect the rate to come out lower given the level of market liquidity. So $193 billion is on offer across the standard maturities. For the bond market too, the activity has muted. The bond calendar from the DMO was just released recently, and there's an auction next week on November 14th where there's 225 billion on offer across the 10-year reopening and 20-year reopening. So bond traders are currently strategizing ahead of that auction, so they are currently on the sidelines. While for the FX markets, the quiet sentiment has recently been spurred by the CBN intervention today, where they provided funds for small and medium-scale enterprises. They also provided funds for travelers looking to buy PT, and people looking to pay school fees and other invisible transactions.
Yeah, we also see that the 2032 and 2037 papers have been sustaining investors' interest so far now. What do you think are the fueling elements, and what other playouts we should also expect in the coming days?
So what investors are trying to do is basically shorten their duration. They are looking for short tenor papers to deploy their excess liquidity into, and we've seen the rates at the Treasury bill space decline from the 14.5 levels that the auction closed at the previous NTB auction to currently trade at 11% levels. So some of the unmet demand in that space has filtered into the bond market. So that's why we've seen demand for the 2037 paper, the short tenor papers, driving the activity. But there's very few offers to match this demand. So largely a lot of the demand for those short tenor papers in the bond space are still unmet.
And according to your report as well, demand at the importer and exporter window still remains high, but we're also expecting a single-digit interbank rate as well. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, for the investor and exporters window, you know how Nigeria is currently structured, largely towards import demand. So that drives the appetite for FX. Currently, the supply has not been as it used to be as in previous years, given we all know the issues with the oil industry in Nigeria and lack of remittances because of huge subsidy payments. But with the recent recovery, we expect that markets will be resuscitated, and the CBN will continue to provide funds for market participants and as best as they can. So we don't expect much depreciation in the rates